Here we are with the COD League Season 2. We've got Not Today versus Soggy Mitts. And this is going to be a pretty exciting matchup. I'm Pacing Legume here with my good friend, Mr. Cash. How are you doing today, Mr. Cash? Here, Mr. Cash, I think. Figure that out in a couple moments. All right, I think you're here.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can. Oh, that was just
Fantastic.
too many buttons on. But yeah. So we've got this game here. Got these two.
Yeah, Not Today is one of the best South American teams out there. They've been through some roster changes, but they still have some of the best South Peruvian players around with Benjes. And I believe who they have on there, Jericho. I'm not sure if they've changed the names, but Leo Style Benjes I'm familiar with. I'm not sure. I guess they have a couple, and they have trying out a couple of stand-ins. And on the other side, Soggy Mitts, I'm not familiar with the new lineup, but God's Hands is a fairly famous pub player, 7K, does strange things. Noble Wings is played on quite a few different JDL teams, very strong mid player. And I believe Frogos is their support as well. I've seen familiar with him as well. I'm not seeing D2Z or Sparky quite as much, but I have, with their reputation, I'm sure they're very good players as well. So this should be a quite a good match. Probably some of the higher level semi-pro or tier 2 or 3 pro teams for the Americas.
Definitely should be a lot of fun and a lot of fun to watch as well. I mean, with these heroes, I mean, some of them kind of interesting. The Elder Titan, especially on Not Today, a hero that can be extremely strong, and I'm actually pretty excited to see it played out in this match.
A very good hero, very hard to estimate his impact in game a lot of times because his natural disorder sometimes it's kind of hard to tell how much impact it's having. But once he gets a couple of levels on there, some heroes just seem to evaporate. And with good time stomps, it can be very, very impactful.
Also, when you pair that with a Slardar, I mean, things can get pretty dicey with the amount of physical that is possible from. We haven't even seen the cores from Not Today, and I'm already pretty scared of it.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect the starter to be in the off lane, but we'll see how that goes. And Soggy Mitts is hiding on what they're doing quite a bit as well right now. They're really have revealed even less. Phoenix predominantly being played as a greedy 4 nowadays, but it's still capable of off laning. And Winter Byron is something we haven't seen a whole lot of recently, especially after the change to his ultimate. But very strong counter initiation. It's going to make it very difficult for Not Today to go on Soggy Mitts if they're well positioned. Slaughter tries to blink stun. If anybody tries to follow up, Wyvern can Witch's Curse and turn the whole fight around. So just with levels alone, Wyvern needs no items to also have a very big impact in this game. So Not Today is going to be to be very careful finding something that can fight around that, or maybe even avoid fighting altogether. With Phoenix Ultimate and Wyvern Ultimate, it's very scary to fight into those two heroes already.
Scary for Soggy Mitts to fight into it, but I feel like if they can get the kiting around, it's definitely going to be okay.
Absolutely. If they stay spread out, it's going to be very difficult for Soggy Mitts to abuse that a lot. Right now, they're Not Today's big. And Elder Titan doesn't have to be right in the fight, and Volker can fight from the distance. Right now, they're not scared of it. That's for sure. And they definitely have, like you were saying, a lot of physical damage.
Disruptor.
A very good pick with the Disruptor. Very one of the most successful support of the majors, and very, very strong against Timbersaw. Good catch with the Glimpse and the Static Field. That's very, very strong against a lot of their heroes. Neither Wyvern or Phoenix have a good escape for that. It's excellent pick by Not Today here.
we're just trucking through the draft right. Lots of interesting heroes. Some of them we've seen quite a bit, but it is nice to see heroes like the Timbersaw or the Elder Titan just making their ways in the draft. Seeing a lot of different heroes in the game, which is one of my favorite things about the game of.
Oh, absolutely. Especially as this last major showed, I believe it was 95 or 96 different heroes were picked in the tournament, which was set a record for Valve events. And the diversity and the balance of the current meta is really quite incredible. We're in some of the prime times of Dota 2 right now.
Yeah, prime times it is as we get to the bottom part of this draft, and well, these heroes. I personally like the Disruptor quite a bit. It helps his team fight out. They actually have a pretty interesting combo with the Sword Crush, Elder Titan just stomping his way, and then Invoker and Disruptor, both heroes that are some very good right here. In Soggy Myths, they seem okay as well, but they're a team that can be controlled pretty well with that static storm of the Disruptor.
Yeah, I mean the Juggernaut pick was very good by them because the Juggernaut can escape the glimpse with his spin. So if they are positioned well, it can be difficult because Phoenix and Wyvern can also sit far back behind them. I would be mostly concerned for the Timbersaw because it would be that's where his laning might be difficult. He can't really just kind of go AFK jungle like a lot of the popular offlaners nowadays can, like Beastmaster Slaughter, Darkseer can just abandon a difficult lane and not come back. Timbersaw generally does need that lane, whether he goes mid or whether he goes off lane, he needs to get some levels in lane to really come online. And that disruptor with ET could be very scary for him. And I do like the Invoker pick as well, quite nice here. He can, if he goes Quas Wex, he can be quite strong against the Timbersaw, burning off all his mana and counter initiating as well against Wyvern. Um, but he can also just rely on the Slaughter and Disruptor to make a lot of space and just contribute with Sunstrikes and a lot of physical damage in AoE in teamfights as well. Um, and they're banning out the PA. Interesting ban here with the new recent buffs to the PA. She can just blink right through Magic Community. I really was interested to see how many people would pick her up. And it's interesting to see that Soggy Myths were worried about Not Today last picking her in this situation. Whereas Not Today is banning out the potential mid of DK, so they do think that the Timbersaw is going to be in the off lane. They're getting rid of any kind of tough mid laners for them to deal with.
Does bring us to the last pickup. It's going to be the Sven for Soggy Mid. So, yes, a mid Juggernaut safe lane Sven. Definitely not something that I thought we were going to see today, but it will be pretty interesting. How does Juggernaut do against an Invoker in mid?
He actually does just fine. He is very hard to lock down. It's just like we saw Miracle run it in the majors. He is quite immune to many of the ganks. Let's pick up with the Mirana for Not Today. With his spin, he can avoid glimpses and a lot, and the Yellow Titan Stomp. And once he gets to his bottle, it's quite difficult to harass him down. He's got both the bottle and the healing word to give him sustain.
That being said, we are going to get into the match, and immediately we get a pause. Great. Did have a bit of a delay getting into this. Not today, we're finishing. They're here now, and they're waiting to get on with this. So, before we start, looking just at the lineups of these teams, which one do you think is going to have the upper hand?
It's a hard call. Definitely Soggy Myths definitely have a lot more farm potential, and I think they scale better into the late game. But they're a little greedy. I think again, I'm worried about the Timbersaw more than anything else. Him being able to get those levels, and Wyvern might need to rotate to protect him from ganks. Whereas I think the Juggernaut should be perfectly fine. Um, and Not Today, really, as soon as they get blink up on Slardar and a few levels on the Disruption and Elder Titan, they can be very, very scary. I would say I would favor Not Today before 35 minutes, and I would favor Soggy Myths after the 35-minute mark if they prolong a game that far without losing any Raxes.
Yeah, Soggy Mints definitely have the bigger farm potential. Going for that greedy lineup of the Juggernaut and Sven. I mean, also, the Timbersaw requires a little bit of farm to get started, so they're definitely going to trying to get through this early game without too many losses. And like you said, not today. Definitely with the bigger team fight impact, the better. As you said, early game, just being able to work on the map probably a little bit better. So this is going to depend a lot on the laning stage. See who comes out on top there, and that's probably going to set up the mid game hopes for each team.
Yeah, I don't feel like the Soggy Mist really wants to fight very much. They do have a fairly good defensive lineup against Juggernaut, can run away well in the zone. Ben has his bonus armor to heal back. Wyvern has the heal to keep him back as well, and Phoenix has the Sun Ray to also keep him alive. I don't feel like they want to be engaging too much, but these lineups can be very deceptive. They'll still have a decent, if not today, um, is not careful, they definitely have a lot of pickup potential because Juggernaut has a good bit of damage with his spin, the Sunray damage, as well as the Splinter Blast from Wyvern and a stun from Sven. And they have a good amount of damage. If they get some levels, and I feel that's the biggest part that Soggy needs is some levels on their supports and on Timbersaw, they can be very scary. I don't feel like any team has a particular straight advantage, but each team has its own strengths.
Seeing how those play out in this match as we get started here. Starting with Soggy Mitts on the Radiant side. Here playing the Winter Wyvern is going to be Frugas. On our Phoenix is going to be Sparky. Call. Juggernaut going to be handled by
Noble
NBWZ.
Wings.
What was
Noble
that?
Wings is
Yeah,
Wings. This is
Noble Wings. There
abbreviation.
you go. Staying on top of it here. We've got God's Hand on the safe lane Sven. And finally, in the off lane is going to be Timbersaw, played by D2. Without that dire squad.
Not today. We have XD on the Elder Titan. I'm standing in. Benjaz on the Slardar. Leo Style on his Strong Invoker mid. Matthew on the Disruptor. And Mirana being played by Saint Seiya returns. Poking a little bit on the bottom lane. Not today, smoked up early and just kind of played safe. They didn't seem to do anything with their smoke. They're just kind of positioning and looking. Mirana playing with fire a little bit with the Sven on near the bottom rune.
Benjaz is doing a little dance here at the top rune. Pretty nice. Get this. They're probably going to get this. Soggy Mitts are going to go for the bottom rune. Not a whole lot happening here to start, and that definitely works in the Soggy Mitts. Don't want to let Not Today get off to any kind of good. There is going out. Yep, start out. Dire side.
That was very nice because Mirana really want that camp to be able to farm with her arrow. That's her way to kind of get the farm in the lane, is kind of go to that hard camp, farm it out. So it was really nice find by them to deward that.
Not going to catch that high ground.
Go
through. Got a Timbersaw up against the Slardar and Disruptor. Up by the lane is going to be the Invoker Juggernaut matchup. Could be a Phoenix out in the jungle for now. Backs out and at bottom. Rana supportive against a Sven and Wyvern.
As you can see, there's not a whole lot you can do there. So he just retreating straight to the jungle. See if he can get the stack off. Gets a good stack off. Continues to farm. So he's gonna get some levels of farm there. Noble Wings getting D2Z getting harassed a little bit up top by the ET, so he's getting zoned out. And this is very critical. Timbersaw really doesn't care too much about the farm, but if he can get 3-4 levels early on, he can be very, very scary.
Oh, mid lane spin going out onto the Invoker, and the Sunstrike not going to do a whole lot in that mid lane. The Juggernaut takes down Invoker, so that's going to be Soggy Mitts getting the first blood here. They're all pretty early.
It was very surprising, and both getting caught like that. That's with the strength of the Juggernaut mid, and can't really cold snap him, can't really hold him back, and it looks like that Yo style is going for the Exort Invoker.
Not a matchup I would say played very often. Juggernaut players, they're so used to playing certain things. A lot of them get to. I remember Van used to do ridiculous matchups. And just great seeing some new things.
And like PPD often discusses is that comfort picks matter a lot. Sometimes what matters more importantly. Not that I think this is not a bad matchup at all for Juggernaut at all, but if you have a hero that's very comfortable, that you know exactly how to play, sometimes it's more important than necessarily the perfect hero in the situation. You got to take advantage of your player strengths.
The boots go top rune spot, and which one of them is going to get the bounty? It's going to go to the other. Got a little bit of a longer reach than the.
He's
Walk
got those
away.
boots as well, but they lost their courier meantime as well. They actually removed the hotkeys for it anymore, so I can't select it, unfortunately.
In any case, the courier does go down. It wasn't carrying anything, but that is a little bit of an advantage the way of the Radiant side. So they take the first blood, they take the courier down. Not too bad right now.
Yeah, they're slowly pulling away. Only Timbersaw's picking up a little bit of levels. He wanted to be a little faster, but he's playing quite brave. Really walking off, getting stunned by the Slardar, trying to jump away, taking a lot of damage from Disruptor as well. Getting
Disruptor
really
also
low.
has a glitch back here, and Benjaz, doesn't quite crush, but he is moving. Might just turn this around. He's got another Timber Chain away, and he's going to try to TP out. Benjaz not able to get that crush, and the Timbersaw will fly away towards.
And that reactive armor really doing work.
Difficult takedown, even with only level 2. Timber Chain and reactive armor, seemingly all you need in offlane.
And he's playing it as best as he can. Just gotta keep harassing them and trying to get those levels out. Meanwhile, though, as you can see, Mirana's really pulling ahead, getting a lot more out of the jungle. Almost level 4 already. So she may be able to become more impactful a lot quicker, despite the fact that the other two cores on Soggy mids are getting very, very, very good farm.
That's some fairly good levels for the offlane, and right now the offlane still working towards that soul. He has not died in that offlane. Made it a little bit tough with him with the other Titan going alive and possibly.
And right now, Soggy mids definitely seem to be focusing on making sure that their Juggernaut on their Sven getting off to a good start. And Timbersaw getting hit, getting gone on, taking a lot of damage.
Well, there is a crush available from Benjaz, and he's going to walk right past these creeps. Turn available, but the Timbersaw able to just Timber Chain across into the river, just having a very good knowledge of where exactly those. That definitely comes from knowing this Radiant offlane very well.
And Ben just actually had a mango. He mangoed it just a tiny bit too late and wasn't able to get this crush off. Tried to chase it down. A good escape there by D2Z down to the low ground.
Another spin in the mid lane. The Phoenix is doing so much damage with the laser. There is going to be a stomp there stopping the laser, but it's not in time to help the Invoker survive. And that's going to be another kill the way of Soggy Mitts.
And Noble Wind's really running away with it in mid lane now. You can see with the Juggernaut there, he's looks like he didn't even need to go for a bottle here. He just went straight for Treadzakila and just getting a little value clarity, getting quite strong. Didn't even have to use his Zombie Slash now. Once he regenerates mana, he's going to have some more kill potential again.
So far, he's going to finish up the Ring of Spell going for Power Tread. They haven't been able to. Had some fairly cool calls in while the Sven continues farm this bottom lane, getting the brown boots into Helmut.
And at this point, now that Timbersaw got his level 2 reactive armor, he should be very hard to punish. It's so tanky, so much regeneration that you can see just literally everything Disrupt is throwing at him, he regenerates.
There could be a stomp in from the other Titan. He will hit it onto the Timbersaw, and there's another stomp potential. There it is onto the Timbersaw. TP comes in, and the Timber Chain. He's going to get frozen in place by the Timbersaw, but he isn't going to get another Timber Chain. So this is where the Dire really have to be careful. Elder Titan taking a lot of damage from the Winter Wyvern, but everything is going to be fine there. Just going to maybe for some, but be completely fine on this top lane.
And you can see the strength of the Timbersaw despite being shut down for so long. Just get a couple of levels. Even without boots, he's so hard to punish. Even without Wyvern being there, I'm pretty sure you can just Timbersaw away without any fear. Would have been getting out just fine, unless he got a Slaughter got a very lucky bash out there. In full health already. And now Slardar is running away from him.
Timbersaw very scary against. That's not going as easy. Doing fairly well in the last distance. Quite a few. Still gotta
Juggernaut
be
was
pretty
going
careful.
on Invoker middle and forced out a TP from Elder Titan. He doesn't quite have enough. If he tried Toggle, he would have mana for Omni Slash, but he's saving it for now, not overcommitting. ET caught him with a cheeky little stomp.
Omnislash. He's got the Force Spirit up, so that's gonna help tank a little. Also, if he has enough time, he can go. Omnislash never a guarantee.
Started being dove top under the tier 1. Wyvern's committing with his Arctic Burn, but they're not able to catch him. So a good bit of damage.
So he will use limbs. Benjaz, he's low. He gets a crush. There's a Sunstrike. Are they going to find the kill? Yes, they do onto the Winter Wyvern. And Elder Titan is going to secure that one with a stomp. Here he comes with that Spirit. And yeah, there's no stun here for Timber. He is going to get out of that deep dive.
Dragon's going on mid, Omni Slashing,
and like we talked
like you called it.
Forge Spirit helps him tank some of that Omni Slash damage and earn it here. I mean, Juggernaut has everything. Invoker decides to just turn around, go back for the farm in the mid lane. And we get a little bit closer to Kill Store out. 9 minutes in.
Meanwhile, Sven, though, has been completely uncontested bottom. He's just completely free farming, dominated a creep, and was trying to stack his Ancients a little bit as well, I believe. I'm not sure where the troll is going at the moment.
And there's going to be a Sunstrike. Oh, he walks around inside of it. Going to go right down in the mid lane. Really know what he was thinking there. Probably wasn't thinking about the fact that there could be a Sunstrike. Meanwhile, the Elder Titan is just going to get trapped up by a troll dominated by the Sven. That mid laser. Kree call.
And you might be right. I think he got a little confident. He's been kind of bullying the Invoker so much in this lane. He got a little overeager. And that was a very nice play by Leo Style there. But his Midas is quite late, but he finally does get to pick it up. Invoker does require... Oh, another
random
Sunstrike.
Sunstrike onto the Phoenix, and he will dive forward. Unfortunately, there was not a stun available from the but he has finished up his Midas, so he's going to get a little bit better in the net worth right now. Forces back the Phoenix.
And Invoker can recover quite well, very quickly as well. He's
places down a ward, getting chased down by the Astral Spear and the Elder Titan. Gonna try to get it, but it will not hit onto the Winter Wyvern. And the Mirana ultimate was also used.
And Mirana's rushing straight for her Aghanims, already more than halfway there. Really getting her farmers being completely unpunished there.
Damage on the Juggernaut, and he's got another Omni Slash in 20 seconds. A little bit careful on this.
Timbersaw getting on, going on top, and he gets caught on. They drop the Sunstrike as well, and it's not needed. Phoenix comes in to teleport.
The power of that combo. I mean, you come in with the crush by the Sword Art and then a Sunstrike. It's a pretty easy combo to just blow up your.
There's a DD on Noble Wings mid, and he looks trying to find for a kill, but ET backs out in a timely manner.
Has a flash available. Doesn't really want to go for the Juggernaut, the Invoker rather. Has already seen
smoke up top. There's smoke by Timbersaw and Phoenix up top to try and go for that slaughter kill.
Go for Benjaz in the top lane. They smoked onto him. Here comes the laser, and they will find the kill with the Chakram. Dunking down the Slardar. Just to make that.
This is a very surprising opening from Phoenix here. He's going for the vitality booster. Most people tend to prioritize getting a Midas, getting some levels, and transitioning late game. I'm not quite sure what Phoenix... Oh, Wyvern actually dewarding a little bit. Has a little fight with the ET. Managed to get the sentry.
Deward.
Backing up. I think Phoenix is gonna go for an. I think Phoenix is gonna go for an Atos here, which is really nice against both the Slardar and the Disruptor, trying to catch him and go on them, as well as you just basically prevent him from chasing you as well. But it's definitely a unique choice. Not something you see very often. A little pause here. Some lag going on.
Yeah, I mean, an Atos is a little bit ambitious from a Phoenix. I mean, he's basically going straight for the item, and he's not gonna have a whole lot. I mean, Phoenix but going for an Atos first, I mean, clearly has some kind of use for it in mind. Not really sure what that is. How does an Atos specifically help him again?
Well, particularly for the Slaughter, right now he doesn't have a blink.